class. And we will start just lying down on our backs. Keeping your space clear so you can really spread out, but maybe have your props just at least within like reach so you don't have to move too much as we move through this sequence on the ground. And just feel the spine supported by the earth. Take a deep breath in. And exhale through the mouth, sigh it out. And make your next inhale deeper. Feel the ribs expand. Feel the heart rise, the belly rise, the chest rise. And exhale, sigh it out. Let that exhale extend. When the breath has really ebbed out, then begin the next inhale, dragging it out as the body fills. And then turning it around and sighing it out. Let the breath trail away and then take the next one in. And out. Just letting the breath really rise through the body like a wave. Making it a gentle wave instead of one of those big crazy crashing ones like on the Cape Cod shore. Or more of a bay beach, just slowly rising and falling. Harnessing the attention to the breath. Just trying to maintain that connection, just this easy ride of the awareness along with the impulse to breathe. Holding on to that as we move through the whole practice today. Slowly bend your knees, plant the soles of the feet on the earth, about as wide as the hips. Press down to the feet and just lift your hips like an inch and then put them back down, lengthening the lower back down to the ground, feeling the tailbone drop down to the ground, making space. So it's not really so much about flattening the spine down to the earth as much as it is just making space for the lower back to take its natural curve, somewhere where you can let the hips be heavy and you can let the ribs be heavy. Walk your feet out as wide as the mat. Just let your knees knock in towards the center. Feel how that creates a nice spaciousness through the lower back. Breathe into that space. This area on the body is sort of the anchor from which our practice sort of extends in all directions. So down through the feet, up through the torso. The halves of the body meet at this point. The base of the spine, the sacrum, the tailbone, the hips. Taking some time right now to really tune into our awareness of this part of the body. Softening. Really allowing this point to become an anchor, sinking down. Tethered to the feet, tethered to the top of the body. Bring your arms into a cactus shape. So the elbows are level with the shoulders and just having the backs of the hand resting on the mat. Inhale here in the center. And on your exhale, just ride the breath. Let the knees fall softly over to the right. Ride an inhale up through center and then exhale, take them over to the left. In your own time, take inhales up through center and exhales from side to side. And it doesn't have to be like one breath, one movement. You can arrive and pause, tapping into that anchor again, and then ride the next cycle of breath up and over to the other side. We'll be here for about 10 more full cycles of breath, just rocking from side to side. Seeing if you can keep your attention harnessed to that anchor point, noticing how it feels to roll across the hips from side to side, how it feels to land on either side, how it feels to land in the center. Remembering there's no pressure to get anywhere, we're not keeping pace. Just rolling with the tide. For the last couple cycles of breath, maybe the head gets involved in the turning, going in the opposite direction of the knees as they come from side to side. next time your exhale takes you over to one side, just let the knees rest and land. Take a few breaths here. The anchor of the body of the tailbone is nice and heavy. Our connection to that point is really firm. Let's take our attention up into the rib cage and feel the ribs expand. Left side of the body opening. For me, my knees are off to the right, so I'm feeling the left side of my body expand. Feel the breath rise up into the armpit. And feel everything relax down into the shoulders as you exhale down to the knees, the hips, the feet. And on your next inhale, let it come slowly. Lift the knees up through center and exhale, let them fall over to the opposite side. Breathing space into the body. Inhale, let the knees rise through center when you arrive at that inhale. And then exhale, the knees hug into the chest. You can wrap your arms around the knees. Let the shoulders get heavy. The anchor of the tailbone of the sacrum stays heavy. Maybe now lifting up the head, tucking the chin, and setting it back down, finding the natural curve in that cervical spine at the top. Allow the skull to soften, the skin of the face to soften, the muscles dropping down, the eyeballs sink back into the skull. Let your right arm lift overhead. And on an exhale, let your knees fall over to the right, rolling onto the side of the body, allowing the head to be supported by the arm underneath it. Feeling the weight of the body spread the side of the body, that right side of the body down into the mat. Connecting your attention and your breath to that anchor point at the base of the spine. And then pressing up to a seat, keeping your attention with that anchor point. Just a cross-legged seat. If you like to have a lift underneath your bum, you can. And note what leg is in front.
We're going to switch later on. So for me, I have my left shin in front. That's sort of my natural way. And I'm actually going to switch it up and start with the side that's unnatural. So having my right shin in front, just to really give myself a place to be aware from, to allow the attention to kind of have to do a little bit more work and therefore pay attention to more of the details. And bring your attention back to that sacrum and feel the tailbone dropping down, the hips get heavy. Maybe discovering that you actually would like a little bit more space to do that and propping yourself up a little higher. You can use blocks, whatever, you do you. Finding the weight of the sacrum moving down towards the earth. The hips are heavy. Feel the knees get heavy. Close the eyes. And once you've tapped into that weight through the pelvis, use an inhale to lift the heart. Feel the breath rise naturally. The chest opening, the shoulders drop down as you exhale, the tail drops down, but the chest stays open. And the next time you rise and inhale through the body, the heart lifts a little higher. Maybe you feel the breath traveling up into the throat, and then exhale. Let the length settle in the body. So now we have the whole spine from the base of the skull, the shoulders heavy, the whole spine is long all the way down to the tailbone. Inhale. The breath rises all the way up to the crown of the head, perhaps. And then comes all the way down, maintaining the space and the length through the spine. Maintaining the weight as you inhale. And exhale. Inhale, let the chest come over to the right. Lean forward, exhale, rotate to the left and back, keeping the eyes closed, just stirring up through the spine. Moving with the breath, keeping the movement soft to begin with, just as really gentle. And then letting the breath sort of expand the body, expand the movement. Determining sort of your range of being. Just a few more breaths here. Maybe getting into the shoulders a little bit more. Maybe the head is rotating out and you're finding some stretching through the neck. With your next inhale, find the deepest inhale, the deepest extension. Exhale, rounding, finding the deepest rounding. And then inhale, finding the neutral spine. I'm going to extend my right leg out to the side now. Just whatever leg is in front, extend it out to the side. And you may want to have your blocks on either side of your leg. Hands plant down, palms press down into the blocks. And you can walk the blocks in like pretty close to your hips so you can find this really strong length up through the spine with the blocks on either side of your right leg. Pressing down into the palms makes you sort of become aware of the turning around that axis. So again, with the spine turned, your core is probably turned on just naturally here. Inhale. And then exhale, feel the tailbone drop down. Keeping the heart open. Inhaling, and then exhale, just start to slide the hands forward, keeping the blocks with them, keeping the spine long, pulling the toes back in towards the face. So you're not like necessarily folding it as deep as you can. We're just sliding forward, keeping the shoulder blades engaged, pressing the hands down into the blocks so you really have all of this length through the body. Take a deep breath. Really feeling the strength of this pose for another moment or two. Inhale. And then exhale, round the spine, letting everything drop down, getting soft. Maybe the hands come off the blocks, down to the earth. Feeling the spine like really spread out here, like breathe up and feel like each vertebra is just getting a little bit more space between it. Then you can sigh out the mouth whenever you like. Feels nice. Inhale, roll up, pressing up to a tall spine. Cross your right leg in front again. Take a breath in the center and just feel how the body settles now. Tapping into the tailbone at the base of the exhale, inhale, lifting. And exhale, settling. Just switch the crossing of the legs. Notice how that shifts the balance just inherently. And take a few breaths to realign the spine, reconnect to the anchor point. Once you've found that center and that stillness, inhale, start to rotate around it, bringing the chest to the left and forward, and then to the right and back. With the breath, and really notice where you're feeling it in your spine. Letting the head and neck get involved if that feels appropriate. Your next breath, bring your chest really as deep as it can on the inhale forward, and then as deep as you round on the exhale. And then the next inhale lengthens the spine tall. Exhale, settle. Your left leg will extend out, or whatever your front leg is. You'll find your blocks. Bring them to either side of the leg, flexing the toes back towards the face, turning the chest over, pressing the hands down into the blocks to lift the chest high. Take an inhale, feel the chest rise. Exhale, send the breath all the way back down, feel the tail anchor to the ground. Inhale, one more lengthening, keeping the base solid. And then exhale, sliding forward, holding the anchor steady. Keeping the chest long, the spine long, pressing down into the hands to lift the shoulder blades onto the back, pressing down through the back of the leg. One more inhale. And exhale, round down, softening into the pose completely. Inhale, feel the spaciousness between each vertebra. Exhale. Inhale, walk the hands back, lifting the spine tall, crossing the legs just for another breath or two. Sensing this ever increasing steadiness. Shift forward onto hands and knees as you're ready. Having the blocks at the top of your mat within reach. Press down into the hands, press down into the tops of the feet. Feel the shoulder blades engage on the back, feel the sides of the waist pull in, press down into the tops of the feet, feel the outer hips pull in. The support all up and down the spine. Inhale, lift your right toes up, stretching through the back of the leg. The toes are pointing down towards the earth. Nothing else has changed. Everything else is equally as steady. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, feel the breath rise all the way from the heel to the crown. Exhale, send it all the way back down. Inhale. And then exhale, step the right foot forward. Take as much like steps to that step to get it there. Stacking the knee, the heel underneath the knee. Blocks come on either side of the leg. I'm bringing my up to their highest setting. And I'm going to scoot my left knee back a little bit. But the goal here is to use the blocks again to press down, to roll the shoulders onto the back, feeling the spine nice and long. Feel your weight really in the right heel. And once you find that connection, press down to the heel to send the right hip back. Feel the left hip move forward. Sensing of steadiness and flatness across the lower back. You can bring one hand to the sacrum just to test and see how nice and long the lower back is. And just feel the breath rising through from the anchor all the way to the crown, and then sending it all the way back down, pouring it into the earth through the soles of the feet as the hips get heavier, and open deeper. Feeling an opening across the front of the left hip flexor. One more inhale here. Exhale, shift the hips back, pressing the toes down so you're not lifting the toes. You're getting this stretch through the front of the foot, up the front of the leg maybe. You're still pressing down into the blocks. The spine is still nice and long. The shoulders are still hugging down onto the back. Feel how much more, just like how different this is, and how you really need to bring awareness into the foot to send the hip, that right hip, to wrap under. Press down into the top of the back foot. Inhale. Exhale, bend into the knee. And you can shift back to a tabletop, finding stillness or moving through a few cat-cows if you prefer. Meeting back in the center when you're ready to find stillness, reconnecting with the finger pads, pressing down, feel the arms hug in, the shoulder blades hug down the back, press down into the tops of the feet, feel the outer hips pull in, the core turns on. Again, finding that really deep stability through the core, radiating out from the center into the hands and feet, out through the crown of the head. With your left leg up, left toes point down towards the ground. Nothing else changes. Everything stays steady. The weight stays as balanced as you can. You may need to make adjustments as necessary to find that evenness in this uneven pose. One more inhale. Exhale, step forward. Foot comes between the hands by the left fingers. Blocks come on either side of that left foot. Setting yourself up in your lunge, aligning the heel underneath the knee in a straight line. Pressing the hands down into the blocks. Finding your heel, rooting down, press into the heel, send the left hip back. Feel the right hip moving forward. Evenness through the lower back. Take a hand there if it's helpful to check in and see what's going on. From this side, I needed to come up onto my fingertips to really find that stretch and the alignment through my lower back. You can never have enough props. I wish I had 4 blocks. One more inhale here and exhale here. Inhale, press into the ball of the foot to straighten the leg, keeping the foot down on the earth, keeping the spine long, the hands pressed down, getting this nice stretch through the front of the leg. Press down, feel that left hip roll back, straightening out, super active. Breathing into it for a couple more breaths. Inhale, bend the knee. Back to a tabletop position. And from here, we're going to fall forward into a puppy pose to begin with, and then into a child's pose from there. So to begin with, we'll keep the toes kind of just in line, like going back, like they're parallel to each other, hips with distance. And then just start to walk your hands forward from tabletop to let the chest melt down. And really just let yourself be soft, like fall into the pose here. Feel the armpits opening down towards the earth. If you need like the pillow underneath your head to like find that release down to the earth, please use your props as much as you can. But really sinking in for another breath or two, just not really paying any attention, just allowing the body to hold itself in this position. And then let's turn on from the extremities. Press the tops of the feet down, press the hands down, feel the muscles turn on. Feel the biceps turn in towards each other. The shoulder blades roll down the back.
Feel like there's a belt around your lower ribs, so your belly hugs in. Press down into the hands, feel the hips move back, press down into the tops of the feet, really receive it. Just feeling the super long length through the spine and opening through the chest, through the armpits. One more breath. And then on an exhale, coming back to a child's pose. I'm going to bring my toes together and knees wide and just fold forward. If you like to fold forward on pillow, you could make a ramp with your blocks in the pillow. There's all kinds of options. I'm keeping it simple. Moving forward, rolling the forehead from side to side on the ground or on your prop. Feel the shoulders get heavy, the head becomes still. Then send the breath into the lower back, just really spreading it through the lower back, irrigating that whole area. And on your exhales, the tailbone just starts to slide down, dropping down towards the heel. Melting down into the earth here. Really take your time. But as you're ready, we're just going to come up and sit on our heels for a moment. You can take your block and set it between your ankles for a little bit more of a lift here. Letting the hands rest on the lap, allowing the eyes to close, tapping into that central core, the anchor of the tailbone dropping down when you arrive. Just breathing. Summer is officially upon us. So let's do a little cooling pranayama this evening to bring everything down to earth, everything into the shadow, everything into the coolness. Last night was our new moon, so
It's still pretty dark out at night. I don't know if you guys saw, but I did release like a little meditation. If you want to go out tonight and do it, it's still nice and dark. Anyway, cooling breath. You'll either take your tongue and roll it up into like a little tube if you can and you want to. If you can't do that, what you can do is breathe in through your teeth. So with the tongue rolled, you're going to breathe in. And then you'll just breathe out the nose. Inhale, sucking in through the tongue or the teeth. Exhale through the nose. Keep moving. Instant air conditioning. Returning just to breathing in and out through the nostrils. Shifting back onto our backs from here. Right back where we started, with our feet planted on the mat. The whole spine is supported by the earth. Lift the hips. Make room for the natural curve of your lower back with the head. Tuck the chin, make room for the natural curve of your cervical spine. Bring the feet as wide as the mat, let the knees fall in towards each other. This is a great place to just stay and breathe for the next few minutes. If you like the legs up in the air with the block underneath your sacrum, I'm going to take that now. I think it would be nice. It's sort of just reinforce the cooling aspect of our practice. So I'll lift my hips, I'll slide the block underneath that sacrum, that anchor, making sure it's nice and supported, and a supported bridge for a breath or two. Just really letting yourself rest at each station along the way so you can find the equilibrium through the body, through the breath. And once you have abided in the steadiness of the supported bridge, then you can bring the toes up towards the sky.
Having the legs suspended in midair, the hips supported by your block. And the legs almost feel weightless, like it's no effort at all to lift them up over your head. Just basking in the breath here as it moves through the body. Floating again in that calm sea. Really beginning to slow the breath down. And beginning to slip away from controlling the breath and into just letting it happen. Letting it flow. Letting it be. And noticing how even without, because you're not paying attention to the breath, you notice these subtle movements in the body. If you have your legs up, when you're ready, bring the toes down, touch to the ground in unison together. The feet land. Resting in breath for a few moments here. And once you find your steadiness, you can lift the hips and shift the block away, setting the hips down. Just returning to the ground. Let the knees fall to one side on an exhale. The arms can be in a T or stretched out to a cactus shape or even touching the body. And let the knees just fall. The twist is really passive and the breath just flows through it. Take an inhale and lift the knees through center, and exhale, let them just fall onto the other side. Unwinding the body. Inhale the knees up through center. You can hug the knees into the chest, let the hands rest on the knees and pull them down just through the weight of the body. Release the shoulders down to the earth. Let the hands get heavy. Feel the breath running up and down the spine. And when you're ready, just extending the legs long, landing in Shavasana. If you like to have like a pillow underneath the thighs or blocks underneath the knees, find that. So it can be a really nice release for the lower back. And we've done so much already to be a perfect capper. So I'm going to do that. Just let it go completely. Let the body just get so heavy that it melts away. And if you are basking in this and loving it and have the time, you can stay here and do that. Just put me on mute or ignore me. But if you're ready, you can just start to bring a deeper breath into the body. And like a wave, feel it move through the body. Inspiring movement in the body. Through some, I don't know, probably Zen or something saying about the water doesn't move, the wave moves. So let the breath be the wave and the body be the water that is moved by the waves but maintains its essential steadiness and fluidity. And eventually guiding yourself up to a seated position to close the practice. Let the hands rest on the knees. Let the tailbone drop down. And let the inhale inspire the heart to lift. And in honor of that space in the heart, bring the hands to it. Bow the chin in towards the heart. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Julia.
Welcome.
A long time since I did the Wednesday night.
I know. Hope you feel nice and relaxed and like an ocean wave.
Yeah. Wave in the water. Arnie's all in blue. She looks like the ocean.
I am the ocean tonight.